Okay. Benny, hit me with a mic check, bud.
Oh, hello there. How's it going?
Oh my god. That's classic Ben. Right
Ooh,
there.
hello there.
And hello there.
All right, that should be good there. Nicholas. Oh, you're good. Never
Fuck
mind.
you.
Yeah. Oh, that's rude. Eric.
Suck me off, fucker.
How are you now?
Well, not so bad. And you, Dare?
No, it's good news.
Good and you, not so bad.
Yeah, well,
Not so
suck
bad.
my balls. That's my version of it. Welcome back, everybody, to the Fifth Line Podcast. We are back, episode 21. 21. We got to 21. We got 20 plus. And we're gonna start off with some ladies action. There was not a lot of coverage around the Isobel Cup coming back to finish the tournament, and because of that, that's why we didn't mention it last episode. Yeah, I didn't even know until this weekend that it was coming.
I saw some like Associated Press wire stories about it. Like I think this weekend into like
those
the beginning
of
this
us
week.
those of us who don't work at a newspaper didn't see jack about it. So, but yeah, so last night was the final game, and the Boston Pride beat the Minnesota Whitecaps, and they won. And I think they were the best team going in anyway. So I guess it makes sense. Which it's Boston. They're just good at everything, apparently.
Yeah. So another notable tidbit from that. When we were doing an episode a while back on the NWHL, I know we were talking about who's won the cup before and who hasn't. This is the second cup that the Boston Pride have, so they are 2-time Isobel Cup champs,
which I believe is a first.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this only the second Isobel Cup?
No, the NWHL has been going for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's it. Congrats to the Boston Pride. Yep.
Yeah.
You don't have any former Cardinals, but that's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, and then late breaking news in a game that's still happening. Aaron Ekblad, in the thing I just wrote breaks his leg or something because we literally don't know what the injury is. But he injured his leg and had to be taken off in a stretcher, which usually means it's pretty bad.
In classic NHL fashion, a lower body injury.
You don't need to know what the injury is. It's just somewhere.
We're lucky we get lower body. They're just like, it's an injury. Where? On his body. Like. But yeah, hopefully he's okay because they're having a killer freaking season, and he is a pretty big part of that. That decor.
Yeah. They just lost Patrick Hornquist too.
Oh, they did. That's why you dropped him, eh?
Yeah, okay. I think he broke his foot.
Yeah. Well, hope. Oh man, that's gonna be a long time. Well, hopefully. Yeah. Oh, geez. Hopefully they can bring some people up to fill those gaps. It's gonna be hard, but
yeah, that's not great.
Yeah. Because, I think a series between them and the Lightning would be good, I think.
Has there ever been like a Battle of Florida like playoff series?
No, there's really.
I feel like that would be awesome.
Oh, in the playoffs, no. I don't believe they've ever faced each other in the playoffs. But there's also never been a big rivalry, just because, like, Florida's never really been good.
Yeah, that's a large part of why the Habs Leafs rivalry is like non-existent at this point, or is starting to get more existent, but it wasn't for the longest times because
the Leafs were kind of bad. Yeah,
it makes sense with Panthers because the Panthers have had like 2 good years in the existence of their franchise.
It's not been a lot.
So that makes sense.
It's not been a lot, but hopefully they get some more players to come up and replace those players.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see if that'll increase how active they are in the upcoming days, because we are getting down to it.
Oh yeah, the trade deadline. When is that?
Christ, it's in early April sometime.
Early April. Okay.
It's probably
next
not
week.
Early, like
it's probably like the week after this one.
I want to say it's like the 12th. Oh yeah, the 12th.
Oh, there it is. All right, cool. So the 12th. So yeah, they've got 2-ish weeks to make some moves. Yeah, I could see them being a buyer too, for sure.
Yeah.
Even in this,
capitalize on some unexpected energy.
We may as well segue from this into the Canadiens trade.
The Canadiens trade. It was just very. Marc Bergevin had literally done a press conference the day before, being like,
"Yeah,
I don't." I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be active on the trade market, whatever. And then the next, which to a point, yeah, it makes sense. Like, why would you say, oh yeah, I'm looking for all these different things, so all the rest of the NHL general managers know exactly what you want.
Yeah.
That's just kind of been Marc Bergevin during his entire tenure. Like, you almost never hear about any like rumored Habs trades that like actually end up happening. Like, every trade that always happens is like, oh, never would have expected that. Like, you don't. There's never moments on hockey Twitter. I think the only one that actually got broke before the team that I can weirdly remember is Nick Kiprios breaking PK Subban for Weber. But that was just like breaking it in real time.
Yes.
Like,
so anyway,
Bergevin's very secretive.
The trade we're talking about is the Habs get Eric Staal for a 3rd and 5th round 2021 pick. I figured we were just going to talk about that trade, not the
fucking guy goes trades. Off. Mike, you segue into the trade, and he doesn't even talk about what trade it is.
I was gonna get there, but okay, sorry.
Regardless, they get Eric Staal for cheap, really cheap, because it's this year's draft, and nobody knows what's going on with the draft this year. So
the only benefit to Buffalo right now with that is Buffalo has one of the better like virtual scouting team, because that's all they do.
Yeah, that's all they have is a video scouting team.
And actually, Buffalo was lacking some picks going into this draft. I think they were down 2.
Did they? If you guys watch SVP, did they spend them on Taylor Hall?
They've spent their picks on some things.
It was on Wayne Simmons back a couple years ago, Jimmy Vesey, and then there was one before that. But
I totally forgot Taylor Hall was free agent signing also, so that was a new
one.
But yeah, how do you feel? How do you feel about getting Eric Staal, a grizzled vet?
It's nice. It's like all right, cool, because the Habs had 14 before this trade. They had 14 picks for this year's draft.
Jeez,
seven rounds. Like, they had draft capital to spend. And if you're just gonna throw a 3rd and a 5th at Eric Staal, who is, I'm gonna just go ahead and ignore
what he did this year.
Because I'm not going to hold anything against any Buffalo player that like has been good and elsewhere and then was just as part of this year's Buffalo team. Because
I'll hold it against Taylor Hall. He should have more than 2 fucking goals.
That's very
regardless
true.
of how shitty the team is. He should have more than 2 goals, right?
There is that, but
yes,
I'm trying to find out what he had like that last season in Minnesota, because that's like the real reference point.
He wasn't. I don't know. I mean, it's a nice ad.
He had 47 points in 66 games the season before with Minnesota. Like, and then the season before that, he had 52 in 81 games. Like, he had come off like a couple strong years in Minnesota, and then went to Buffalo, and that's not good for anybody this year.
Apparently, Buffalo is just where you go to kill your career.
Die.
And sure. This will be my last point on why I actually do like it quite a bit, is that the Habs went into this year at center just being like, all right, we got Phil Deneau, and then we got 3 kids, and we're just going to let it ride and see what happens, them being Suzuki, Kakanyemi, and Jake Evans. And with Phil Deneau, who had struggled, it's kind of gotten it back on the horse the last probably 4 or 5 Habs games, but had struggled for a lot of this year, really exposed how iffy of a plan relying on 3 that young centers was, because they were all going through their own rough patches. So I think bringing in a guy like Eric Staal to be 3-4, depending on situations, which I still think he can do, and I can still think he can score in those positions, I think that's only good for them. And they didn't spend like anything to do it.
No,
more exciting thing to me is Caulfield, but
Oh yeah,
That's
so
good for you
Cole.
guys.
Well, I may as well keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. Cole Caulfield's gonna be coming in soon. He signed his ELC already, didn't he? 3 years.
He signed his ELC for 3 years. He is, from what I think I saw from Eric Engels today, he's expected to travel to Quebec tomorrow, and they have that newly instituted
7 days.
7-day quarantine. That's going to be in effect for him.
That's good.
But then he's first reporting to Laval, which makes more sense for me. Like if you're a guy who's already going to be adjusting from college to pro, and you have 7 days off where you just can't play, you should probably maybe start him AHL, and then if he just tears it apart there, I imagine they will call him up very quickly.
Probably.
But yeah, so nothing but good news after the COVID tests earlier in the week. That was not awesome. And then getting the postponement of games, but then it ended up being that now Tyler Toffoli probably won't miss any games. So there's that, because he had just gotten injured right before those postponements happened.
Games.
And then it never spread past Yoel Armia and Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and then it's still unsure whether or not Kotkaniemi even ever had it. It was Armia had it, and then Kotkaniemi was put on the list because he was close contact. Yeah.
So you never know. You never know.
So how do you think the 7-day shift on quarantine is going to affect not just the North, but like the other divisions? You think like a team like Calgary, if they slide over the next couple days even more, are they going to like shed some weight with those older guys like Monahan or Gaudreau and
try and
call it a lot in there?
If they keep this up, I don't know how you. I mean, I still think that would be more of an off-season type move for them. But I mean, if they're finally done with this core, which consistently underperforms and just finds ways to just like, that's just been the Flames the last few years, is they've just found ways to
get knocked out. They've had a really good looking roster and have just done nothing with it.
And now they finally have a goalie and are still doing nothing with it.
Yep.
Because they're not.
I don't know with them.
They're losing close games. They're losing like 3-2, or like Markstrom's not giving up that many goals a game, but like they're not scoring either. Like, and I say that they are scoring, like they're scoring at a decent clip. If you look at everybody's numbers, they're not bad.
But they're not outscoring teams in the games.
But they're also playing against, like, obviously they're playing against all the northern teams, and all those other teams can score all the time.
Jesus,
that's kind of like a joke about that North Division is they fucking score.
They just score.
And they don't do anything else.
Defense is just for fun when you want to sometimes.
Oh my days, yeah.
So
the only team
obviously Toronto needs to make a move on a goalie with whatever questions are going on with Freddie.
They seem, I don't know. They seem like they're just gonna ride old Jack for the time being, and he's doing okay.
Yeah. I just don't know, because like they're so close to just having to have Michael Hutchinson as their starter. Like they're not that far from that moment, which is probably not a great feeling for them. But I mean, I think all teams are dealing with a lot of injury issues.
Well, Jesus, look at what happened to the Senators. The Senators went down to what?
They went to the fifth string goalie.
Their goalie situation is fucking wild.
Forsberg hadn't played a game in over a year. An NHL game, comes in, and the 2 goals he gave up against Toronto, no goalie could have stopped. Even if Vasilevsky was in net, he wasn't stopping those goals. Just the way they went in.
Challenge him.
And I was like, thinking to myself, you know what? Fuck all these other goalies. Let him play. He just had a year off, basically. Like, here, play somebody new.
Is it getting any more concerning that you have Matt Murray for like another how many years, for like $6 million a year?
Yes.
When there's like 3 or 4 other goalies that are like outperforming him to varying degrees.
Yeah, I mean, all of the guys under him are going to be better than him, I think, at some point. It's just
probably before that contract's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish Joey at
Stadium. The Cord is like their guy for the future, and he's just like, he's young, he's green. So anyway,
I'm
don't
really
want to
happy that
Listen,
they did do the Habs a real solid with those two wins against Calgary. Thank you for that.
Listen,
that was very nice.
The Sens are like Calgary's kryptonite. They cannot lose to them. It's bizarre.
Listen, but let me just tell you something here. How many points? Don't look it up if you have it in front of you. How many points do you think they are outside of a playoff spot?
I think 4.
6.
4 points. I'm talking about Ottawa.
No,
talking about
Ottawa?
I think Ottawa.
So the last time
okay.
I
was thinking
checked,
Calgary
Ottawa
for some
had
reason.
22, but I think they had just beaten Calgary the next day, and then they tied. So I want to say they're at like maybe 26 right now.
So they're like 8 points out of a playoff spot.
Okay, so right now Montreal is in that final playoff spot with 37.
They've been holding it down.
Ottawa has 28 points. They are 9 points outside of a playoff spot in an only intra-divisional season, which means every game's a 4-point game.
Yeah.
That is I think, a very real possibility. They're not that far out.
They're not.
I think there's a lot of shifts that could still happen.
I joke about them
totally
sucking.
make it in there.
I joke about them sucking, and they really don't. Like, they are a fun team to watch because they're flying around the ice all the time. They have a major problem on defense, though.
I think they've only won 2 fewer games than that.
Yeah, I saw that stat the other day. They've lost so many in regulation, though, that that's what's knocked them out.
Yep.
God, the Habs OTL points rather.
Yeah.
Saving their asses right now.
Really is.
They haven't played for a week. They haven't played for literally a week almost, and they're still in a playoff spot somehow.
But to the Habs' credit, they have way less games played than everybody else because of the 2 postponements. So to their credit,
how many games in hand do the Habs have now on most teams?
On a majority, it's 4. On a couple, it's 3, and then on one, it's 6 on Vancouver.
Vancouver's played a shitload of games.
Vancouver's played a lot.
Before we move on to the next thing, I have 2 other players I want to ask you guys about.
Okay.
Wait,
Nick, other major guys that are thought to be moved at the deadline: Taylor Hall and Kyle Palmieri. Where do you think they're going? Because one of them's got to be going to the Islanders.
Eric, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, sorry, Nick. I just want to ask you something with your goalie situation, real quick. Who's other than Forsberg? Who was the other rookie that the Sens had to put in? Gustafsson was his name.
So they played Gustafsson, they played Joey Decord, they played Högberg, and then they obviously have Murray.
So
Högberg's their backup.
When I was watching Sens highlights, I've never seen a more confident and just calm goalie than Gustafsson. He's the first Sens goalie this season who's just looked very calm in his net when he's playing.
Gustafsson was in that trade for Carlson, I believe, and he was supposed to be their next guy. He
he's
just
good.
Never. And he might be in a couple years. But he's been kind of developing in AHL.
Listen, develop your players, boys. You know what the Lightning did? They developed their players, and now they wreck. Not so much lately, but still.
Who were the 2 players you
it was Taylor Hall and who was
Palmieri.
Palmieri.
Kyle Palmieri.
Or as Steve Dangle says it, call it Kyle Palmieri or something like that.
I mean, I've heard that from a lot of that's not that uncommon.
Which one do you think you're gonna get, Eric?
That's a good question.
Are the Isles trying to get one?
They got to get one of them.
They might try to do something. Well, there also is the whole Arvidsson Forsberg rumor, but I think more realistically, like you said, Nick, these 2 players are probably the guys that they'd go after.
Palmieri wouldn't even have to move.
Yeah,
barely.
He's coming out of Jersey.
He just have to drive a little bit more.
I want to say just because of cap, probably Palmieri, because I don't know if the Islanders can take on a Hall contract.
Also, I mean, I imagine Buffalo would retain some on that, but I also don't. I don't think. I think Lou Lamoriello, as a general manager, will trade for Kyle Palmieri before he'll trade for Taylor Hall.
Yes, and
if anyone's trading for Taylor Hall at this point,
why?
Yeah,
exactly. I was gonna say that.
Why?
I think this finally might be the year that NHL general managers are maybe not.
Maybe not.
Is this the
Maybe
year?
not
Is this
him.
the year they finally admit
I hope
maybe
so.
he's not as good as we thought? Jesus.
I mean, it was like I just brought it up because I was thinking about this. The trade that he sent him to Arizona last year already wasn't that awesome for like his reputation.
What was it?
The Devils received for Taylor Hall forwards Nicholas Merkley and Nate Schnarr, a defenseman Kevin Ball, and a conditional first-round pick.
That's a lot. What's the condition, though? I wonder.
I don't know. And then and a 2021 third-round pick. Then for Hall and forward Blake Spears. But like
that's a lot for a little.
That's a lot for. I mean, it's not that. Who are any of those guys? And I know it's only 2 or 3 years down the road out in their prospects, but like, I think a lot of other people probably would have expected more out of a Taylor Hall trade in terms of like names. Like you would have expected a big name to go, but they already weren't doing that like as of last year. So maybe this year, I mean, he's not doing anything, and he's on a historically bad team. Yes, but as Nick said, he probably should have more than 2 goals as Taylor Hall.
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
What were you
I don't think
Nick?
Taylor Hall is the answer.
Nicholas?
No, it was on the topic of like capital back on trades. And Ben was like, "Who are these guys?" And I basically, when Carlson got traded, I said, "Who are these guys?"
Same thing. And now you're learning.
The same thing, but like it's panning out for them.
Now you're learning who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how you want all trades to end. There is with a bunch of you want to get a bunch of people you don't know, and then you want to know them a couple years later,
or at least a couple of them.
A couple of them, yeah. So let's see, we did that. All right, well let's talk about the story that put the hockey world on fire, set it on fire for a couple days there, with some not so surprising revelations.
Yeah,
like whoa, there's makeup calls.
We have an unbiased referee.
What was that, Benny?
Did I share that with you when we were playing Chell the other night? I was just like, oh hey, check this, check this shit. They caught a ref on the mic being like, yeah, I just made up a fucking call, bud. Sorry, needed to get a penalty early.
So in I believe it was a Tuesday night Nashville-Detroit game, referee Tim Peel was caught on a hot mic as the broadcast was going to commercial, saying, quote, "It wasn't much, but I wanted to get a fucking penalty against Nashville early." Word for word with the swear as well.
So that was against it. I was an Arvidsson, I believe.
That
penalty,
was yeah, it was
which
against
was
Victor Arvidsson.
From what I've heard, I didn't see it, but from what I've heard, it was a straight up bullshit penalty anyway.
It was
should never have been called.
It was
like
like
a tripping call that shouldn't have been called.
He Arvidsson was behind the guy and he like kind of like fell into him and like pushed his lower back, and then the guy fell down and they called a trip.
Yeah, that's
but my question for you guys, first of all, we know makeup calls are a thing. We can't really deny that. I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't know why it's a thing. Like, I don't know if it should be a thing. And like you said, Ben, like every single game has like even or like a differential of 1 in the power play penalty count for each team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you guys hear Dangle break it down over like the last 15, 16 games or something? It was insane. It was like maybe 3 games were like way off, but the rest were within 1.
Yeah, and there's another hockey content guy I watch on YouTube called literally the Hockey Guy. He reviews every single game in the NHL every night. So as I watched those videos pretty frequently as I'm like playing video games or whatever, he also goes through a breakdown of the penalties, and I've known this for forever because they're always this, like, it's just always the same across the board. It's even or within 1 or 2.
You see it as you watch. If they call a call against a team and you at home are like, "Oh man, that's a bad call," within a period, there will be an equally bad call for the other team. Yeah. Like in the other team's favor. Like it's not hard to see. But here's my question for you guys. And Ben, I'll start with you. Is this how it should be, or if if you were to pick, how should the refs call the game? Should they call it by the book? Should they just keep doing what they're doing, or should they just put the whistles away? What do you think?
Sure. It should just be called as the rules are for so many different reasons, but the one I'm going to choose is this goes back to the how are casual fans ever going to have any chance? If you make a really blatant trip, a call early in like the first period or whatever, and then you have to, or no, sorry, other way around. If you make up it's like a really flimsy call or at some point in a period, and then somebody sees that and is like, all right, so that's a call. And then it's later on in a game, but you've already called too many penalties against that team that got that flimsy trip. And they just do like a blatant one with like 2 minutes left in the period. Oh, well, then there's also that factor of usually refs, if it doesn't affect puck possession, they usually don't call that stuff or like whatever. And then like, that's just widely known to be a thing that they do. So how are people who are just for the first time watching a hockey game going to know what a penalty is? How are you going to explain to them and be like, well, because it's this time in the game, they're probably going to be a little more hesitant to make the call because they don't want to affect the game. It's so dumb. Like, what refereeing is that?
It's the NHL refereeing. I know. I agree. I would just rather see them call it by the rule books. There's going to be a lot more lopsided penalties, and the team with the more power plays will probably win, and that's probably how it should be because they're not penalizing people.
And then,
I feel like that's self-explanatory.
Hockey players aren't idiots. If it starts to be called a certain way, they will then. I mean, it might take a second, but like they'll adjust. They're not going to want to be on the penalty kill like 12 times a game.
Yep.
So they'll adjust their play accordingly.
Start playing a little cleaner.
But when you do this where it's like, oh yeah, they got to be even, you run into the teams that are just like, all right, if we do enough shitty things early on and just weather a few penalty kills, then we'll probably start to get away with some other stuff later on in the game because they'll be like, well, we already called like 4 or 5 on them. So do we want to give Boston another penalty? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just not it's not good. But Nick, this was an issue in the NBA as well. There were some refereeing issues in the NBA a few years back. What do you
NBA
think?
is a different story though because
because anything's a foul.
I hate talking about the NBA because it's such a like bullshit league. You can touch a guy, like literally just fucking touch him and it's a penalty. And it drives me nuts watching NBA games, and I don't do it anymore. Like I will not watch them. Right. So
I also don't watch them.
You were fully non-NBA.
It's better.
No, I watch college, but I won't watch NBA anymore.
Because college you can get away with. It's a little less like.
To your point, these guys like LeBron or like your superstars in the league can start bitching about calls and get fouls called for them.
Yeah.
And you look at these teams, and I'll circle it back to hockey. Like you have more hard-nosed teams in the league that have some scrappers on them, right? Versus like a straight up skilled team like
really Boston and Toronto is a good, like old Toronto really is a good example of exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like you got
So like I think I agree with Ben. I think they should call it by the book. If it's a trip, call it. I don't care what team benefits. Like
the whole point of the rules is to have rules. If you don't enforce the rules, why do you have rules?
So like if I'm gonna sit down and watch a game with like Erin, right? She knows hockey a little bit, but she doesn't fully understand.
She doesn't really understand.
Right. And then she's like, "Well, why did that happen?" I'm like, "Well, that's a trip." But how come that one wasn't a trip? I was like, "Well, I couldn't tell you because I won't fucking call it."
That happens.
It breaks down to the ref decided it wasn't. That's the reason.
That's happened to me with Danielle. Something will happen, and I'll be like, "What the frig? How's that not a call?" And she was like, "How was that?" She was like, "How is that not called?" And I'm like, I don't know. It should have been. And it was the Lightning guy that did it. He tripped someone, and I was like, okay, whatever. I guess we'll take it. Should have been a call, but
so this situation with this ref, right? So obviously everybody can understand why he's not going to be reffing any. He's actually supposed to be retiring in like April.
Yeah. He also didn't get fired.
He was told he's not reffing anymore.
Yeah. So like all the benefits of all the things, you're still getting all that. You're fine. Just go.
Here's
go home for a month.
Okay. Here's my problem with that. Well, Eric, we'll go back to you. How do you think they should call the game? Should they do the rule book or should they?
All right, so I've talked to my brother about this a lot, and that's one thing. He doesn't really watch hockey that much. And Ben, he says exactly what you do. He's like, every time I watch hockey, it's the playoffs, and I see these penalty calls, and I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Not no idea, but like he's like, yeah.
Especially then, it gets even dumber.
They really don't want to call anything.
Yeah, no, you're right. But so I think this is my main point. You kind of summed it up. So when refs adjust their calls to like make a game, I guess, go the way they want to, that's very different from, like you said, the players adjusting based on, this is how the game is being called by the book.
Sure.
And we should probably stop doing this.
Yeah.
Or we keep losing puck battles and we keep tripping guys. That's on us. Like, it's not on the refs to like
dictate a game.
To dictate a game,
should not
right?
Be dictating games.
Yes. So, like you said, I think it's up to the players to adjust, not the refs. The refs should be objective. Like in the NHL, what is the objective penalty for goaltender interference? I have no idea. And I know that's one example. But yeah. So if you can please just establish that and then call a game equally, like that's it. I know it's more complicated than that. I know there's a lot of there's years of how they've been calling games to to adjust with. But moving forward, that's what they have to do. And another thing too.
I don't think anything's gonna happen. But
yeah. But
I think they're just gonna it's gonna get pushed under a rug. Everybody's gonna forget about it, and then
the only reason Tim Peel is not reffing games right now is because that Mike caught him.
I know. This is okay. So this is
which it shouldn't have. It should not have.
Okay, so this is the problem. So I don't know if I've been at live broadcasts and I know how things work. I think I'm the only one here that's been in that kind of an area. So what happens is people will pod things up when they go to commercial. After they're in the commercial, they'll bring levels up to make sure they can make sure the mic's on. Mm-hmm. So what happened here, obviously, is that they just did it early. They just thought they were already in commercial. They weren't in commercial. That gets broadcast everywhere.
You hear that every once in a while.
Yeah, you can hear it every once in a while. It's never like this.
Where it's like cutting to, and it'll just be like a player going like, "Oh shit," or like it's kind of funny.
You hear that in NFL games all the time. NFL, they do it all the time.
But
I think it's kind of fun when it happens. But
hot mics are great. Hot mics are great.
They catch some funny stuff. But my problem is this. They took this guy away. They're not. First of all, he's reffed over 1,000 NHL games. They're not letting him have a final NHL game. And my problem is, I don't know if that's not how he wants to ref the game. Like that reffing thing is not coming from him. It's coming from above him, and he's getting punished. Like that's total BS, dude.
Yeah, and from every I
agree with that.
Old ref. Yeah, like from every old ref you hear telling stories already, even like Kelly Fraser, one of the two, was like a really famous ref for 20, 30 years. Like all of them reference like shit like managing games or like how to manage the feel of games by taking certain penalties. I'm like, no, it's very clearly it's what the NHL higher ups want how they want it to be reffed.
It's statistically proven that you have 7 games. Listen, you have 7 games tonight. I know there isn't 7 games tonight, but let's just say there's 7 games tonight. I bet you 7 or 6 of those 7 are within 1 penalty of each other, right? So the refs are got to be walking into these games they're not just thinking, okay, we got to make all these penalties even just for the fuck of it. Like clearly it's coming down, and then the NHL is telling them,
listen, you need to even out these games so it doesn't look like it's super lopsided. Because like you watch a Boston game, who's gonna they have Marchand on their team who gets penalties every time he's on the fucking ice.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, would you guys like some real time stats, boys?
I was gonna bring up all the scores. Yeah. Because 5 games are done tonight.
Yeah,
So we can do 5.
So here, I've got the Devils Bruins, Ben. You get Rangers Washington going.
Okay.
So the Devils Bruins, they played the game. It was what the frig?
A 1-0 game.
Was it 1-0? Yeah, 1-0 Devils won, which is interesting. Bruins are on a slide a little bit. But yeah, 1-0 Devils won. Penalty minutes, 8 for the Devils, 8 for the Bruins. All right, let's go to the next one. Ben, how's the New York game? What's the New York game?
How's the New York Capitals game? We got it's a 5-4 Capitals win. It seems to have been a barn burner. Like there was a comeback push by the Rangers towards the end there.
Yeah.
Penalties in minutes, 8-6.
All right, within one penalty.
Yeah,
within
so
one
it was
call.
3 and 4. So within one call.
Red Wings and Jackets. A 4-1 thrashing of the Blue Jackets by the Red Wings. Oh no.
Yep. That's
penalty minutes. 4 for the Blue Jackets, 4 for the Red Wings.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we got Anaheim, St. Louis.
Let's hear it.
Oh, we have our one outlier.
Hey, we got one.
We have our one outlier. The Anaheim won 3-2 in overtime, and Anaheim had one. Wait, what? Penalties been 6. Yeah, I think there might have been some weird situation, but there was 3 calls to 1, so difference of 2.
So I have the Panthers Stars pulled up. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm looking at its penalty minutes is how they're telling me, and it's 13-15. So there were some fights.
I think there was some fights and whatever, but
so
power plays were 3 and 4.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, within one.
Within one. So across the board.
Across the board, basically even.
Consistent. Statistically proven right there.
All right,
Stats,
through one period, let's see, with Nashville, Chicago.
Yeah, what's it look like there? Did Arvidsson get another call against him? I'd be freaking
There's
out.
its calls are 1-0, so they haven't gotten the even up yet.
Yes.
Give them.
They're
on the intermission.
Minutes here. Give them some time, NHL. Gosh, they'll get there.
So yeah, our league's silly.
And
how do you watch the playoffs and we all kind of always knew this, but like now we're extra know it. We're gonna be watching the playoffs and we're gonna be like, all right, so these calls already happened. So what calls are these guys gonna just throw our way just because for shits and gigs gotta manage the game?
Yeah.
And how
I hate it. I hate
shits and gigs.
There you go. Classic referee interference in the game. Like just fabricating calls or fucking making up stupid bullshit just to
Yep.
the thing is, I think they're in some dumb way think that it is making it more fair in that they're not making the penalties imbalanced and not giving too many power plays to one team. But if a team commits infractions, then the other team should be getting power plays.
Them. They are, or if they're breaking that's how that works. Be penalized.
I don't
fucking professional sports guys. They are being paid millions of dollars to do this. If you're doing something wrong, you should be penalized.
It's not hard. I don't know.
Penalization.
Okay, just real quick. So, yes to all of that. First off, but so going forward, now here's the thing, and this is the first scenario I thought of. So obviously there are times in the NHL, and I guess I don't know, I only really watch hockey, but across sports where refs make bad calls sometimes, right?
Oh my god,
so
yeah,
let's
they're
say,
humans.
right,
all the time.
Yeah. So early in a game, and this is, I guess, let me know if you guys agree. Early in a game, if there's a soft call on a trip or something like that, should the refs, right? And this is what happens, manage the game. A ref does that. They're like, you know what? That was a bit of a soft tripping call. We're going to call the rest of the game like that.
Yeah.
You know,
it should be consistent.
That's the standard that's set. So that is the thing, right? So you want to play it by the rule books, but let's say one ref messes up a little, so now they do kind of have to leave the rule book a little bit, right? And manage the game, as they say. But
anyway, finish what you were saying.
Well, no. So there has to be a line though. That can't be an excuse for everything. And Ben, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, just because, there has to be a line. Then every ref will figure out whatever different version of the line is in their own head. That's why I think if you have a shoddy call, all right, cool. Sorry, I messed up, but it was a call. I don't think being like, all right, I'm gonna make up another call is the right play, because then you end up like, it just makes it so much harder because you just move away from the consistency. Because like, no matter what, you have humans reffing a game, you're gonna make mistakes. It's especially just sheer speed that the NHL has gotten to at this point. Like if you watch replays of like 2010s games, even, it's like it's mind blowing. Like I watched some old Habs games from that 2010 run this summer, and it looks so slow. I don't think making up calls to make it even.
I don't believe that's what Eric was saying. I don't know if that's what you thought he was saying. I know
basically. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I
have a way to like compare it, but I want to hear you first.
I think Eric, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were just saying if they have a weak call, you just call the weak calls. Yeah.
Throughout the game,
not make up calls, but like, if there's something that is like 50-50, you call it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. If it's 50-50, you call it. So that is what I was saying. But I see Ben's point. He makes a good point. Like, and this is like, I guess the basis of the argument. Like each ref, like what a weak tripping call is to one ref could be a weak tripping call. Like could be totally different to
another ref. Be a weak. Yeah. It might not be.
So I think I that is the point I was making. But I do think the rule book is better. Like, go to the bench, talk to the coach. Say, coach, listen, that was a terrible call. Like, out of the rule book. Like, I messed up. But like, still call the rest of the game based on the rule book, which again starts at the top down. But Nick, you were gonna say something.
Yeah. So you were talking to like, it basically it's a comparison to how you're saying like if they're gonna make a weak call, you follow through with making weak calls the rest of the game. So baseball specifically, like. You have umpires that will call a strike zone that's that big or that big.
Yeah.
And you
the
don't
size
know.
Of the ball.
Yeah, like,
and it can vary from night to night. So it's based off of that ref's interpretation, right?
Yeah.
Of what he thinks the strike zone is. Football's the same way. It was the same way for pass interference for years until the Saints got fucking hosed on a call a couple years ago.
Hosed, boys.
I almost agree. Like I agree with you, Eric, to a point, and I also kind of agree with Ben, where like,
yeah,
if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna set a precedence at the beginning of the game of calling weak penalties, either you carry through the rest of the game, or you say, basically, you convene with all your refs and say, we fucked up on that one. Don't make a makeup call. Sorry, I fucked up and made a soft call. We're just gonna call the rest of the game by the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they'll get some dirty looks from some coaches, but like you're getting that anyway. So
yeah.
No coach is ever gonna be happy with penalty calls against their team, no matter what kind of call it is,
no matter how egregious.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point I was trying to make. Like I'm kind of delving into the argument of like, oh, like because the hockey I'm used to, and I think playoff hockey, like let the boys play, like that's like the mantra of playoff hockey. And I do think that the whole like that argument that I was trying to make, not that I'm not like disagreeing with my own argument, but I was just trying to like cite a common argument that would be made against that. I am leaning more towards the just by the book. And again, like we've established, that has to, like you said, Mike, that starts at the top. Like Tim Peel just happened to get caught doing it. But if he reffed 1,000 games.
It was it was like 1,100 and something games. He had like 2 Stanley Cup final appearances or something like.
Yeah, so he didn't decide to start reffing like this after all that time. Like, that's his career has been learning to ref like that.
And are we naive to think that there are biased refs in the league? Like, they're friggin' humans. I'm sure they like specific teams, right? Like you're just not gonna roll up on the ice and be like, okay.
You're gonna be a hockey fan.
You're gonna be a hockey fan, so you're gonna like certain teams or players. You're gonna hate certain teams or players, right? I'm
For
sure
some
most
reason-
refs who step on the ice, when they deal with Boston and they see Marchand on their ice, and they're like, God, Jesus Christ, here we go. This fucking guy.
You're sure? It seems like sometimes they all like him. They're always talking to him. They're like chummy. He never gets penalties called on him. Freaking asshole.
But yeah, refs definitely have favorites.
They definitely have biases, but like you can stick refs into games where they won't give a shite. There's ways to do that. There's enough
over
teams
some
now.
stupid bullshit game like a Nashville Detroit game.
This season.
Two of the worst in the
Although
Central.
Naturals, I think from what I saw, has kind of gone on a bit of a heater. The last
A little bit.
Have they really? Do we want to go into that and start talking about the Central?
Yeah, I'm done with this ref thing. It's
yeah.
dumb, and it will probably continue to be dumb for some time.
I agree.
I don't see the NHL really doing anything. They're just going to be like, yeah, Tim Peel is gone, and that surely fixes all of the problems.
That rat
right?
bastard was fixing games.
I don't know, Ben. I don't know if I agree with that either. People are gonna put up a super like stink about it, and they're gonna like force a change, like they did in football with pass interference, or they're just gonna say whatever and just leave it the way it is. I don't know.
I think
I'm
B.
not that optimistic for change.
I
But
think
who
B.
knows?
So anyway, the Central. Nashville is on a bit of a heater, 6-3-1 in their last 10, and on a 4-win streak. So they are doing
They're only
quite
2 points
nicely.
out of a playoff spot.
2 points out of a playoff spot because Chicago's
Coming for Chicago.
Chicago's been not on a heater. They're on a
If
cooler.
they're that close, then I doubt Arvidsson or Forsberg gets dealt.
If they can make it into the playoffs, I bet they keep him.
Yep.
But
It's hard to
that's,
say.
It's
but-
there's so much shift that will happen.
It wouldn't shock me if David Poyle pulls the shoot on this one, actually.
Pulls the
They're
shoot
at
as
a-
in starts trading.
Yeah, they have a negative 16 goal differential. Like,
Becca's
and,
not
like
that
they're
good.
not an awesome team. They're just
No.
they just apparently have like a weirdly large amount of bad teams with them this year. And that what is happening with Columbus and Dallas?
Listen, yeah, Dallas is weird.
Dallas is having issues with guys
Dallas
getting
is
hurt.
weird.
Like Dallas has had Raju out for a while, and they still don't have Bishop and Sagan back, and they can't score.
Yeah, there was all that, and
That's
then
true.
nobody
They can't score. One of their best scorers is out. That was their problem in the Cup final as well. They couldn't score because Sagan had a Tyler Johnson wrist. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I picked Columbus to make the playoffs, and I think I was wrong. Yeah, but so the Central, my Bolts are still up top, despite not playing great this past week. They're on a 2 losing streak. Vasi, unfortunately, could not keep his winning streak going. I thought he was going to go for the record. He was 2 games shy of the longest NHL record. I think it was 14, and I forget who it was, but somebody on Boston, I think. But yeah, they have 50 points up top, closely followed by 49 points Carolina and 48 points Florida. And then it's an 11-point gap between 3rd place Florida and 4th place Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeesh.
it's a big gap. It's a big gap between those top.
Yeah, Florida and Carolina have just been running wild with that division. My goodness.
Yeah.
They
I
have.
just checked up on the Dallas guys. Sagan is a mid-April return,
Oh, he's coming
and
back.
Bishop as of mid, it was 3/18. It said is not anticipated to practice anytime soon.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
I think they might just be done then.
I think they're I don't think
think
they make
they
it into
are.
the playoffs. I don't think they do, but you never know. They're
knows?
as bad as they're doing. They're only 6 points outside of a playoff spot.
They could
so.
too. Like you could, I could, like they're good.
Wait,
They have a good
Detroit?
team, right?
Detroit's only 9.
Obviously, they have a good team because they lost nobody basically from last year. So I could see them making a late season push, but
They
knows?
definitely could. They have they have the ability. They just what the frig? I think it's goaltending. Actually, no, it's not because they're +1.
yeah, Kudobin's been okay.
I don't really know what their issue is. I don't watch a lot of their games, to be honest. I only watch the ones against the Lightning. Yeah, so the Central's pretty interesting. Really, after that, it's pretty tight after that third spot. It's like 37, 35, 34, 31, and then 28. So they're all within 9 points, which, again, in an intra-divisional season, is closer than it may look. But let's move on because... actually, you know what I would like to do before we move on is... all right, so let me think. So there are 5 teams in the North with 100-plus goals for. 2, 3, 4 in the West. 4 in the Central. Wait. Yeah, 4 in the Central. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 5 in the East. So the North and the East are the 2 highest scoring as of right now, as it looks. Well, yeah, it's interesting.
Connor McDavid is a bad man. Like the fucking shit he is doing right now.
Yeah, he's on like 100 and something point pace in this season, in a 56 game season. Which puts him real close to 200 in an 82 game season. Like
he currently has
like 170 something, I think.
He has 62 in 35, so he might have cooled off a bit.
That is
They had a hot second there where Draisaitl and him weren't doing a lot, as every team does.
They had 3 games against Toronto in a row where Draisaitl had 1 assist, and that was it between the 2 of them.
David still hasn't scored against the Habs. They've only played 3 games, but
I wouldn't count it against him. I'm sure he will.
I'm sure he will too, because
he cannot solve Jake Allen.
Whenever they do come back, whenever the Habs do come back, or they're coming back on the 30th to play the Oilers, they're still probably going to have a top pairing of Shea Weber and Joel Edmondson.
I like that. I like that a lot.
No, it's not good.
It's very all right, well, let's talk about the North then. So Toronto's up top, 46. Winnipeg, 44. Edmonton, 43. And then 6 points later, Montreal. And then all of the teams are right there.
I think
basically.
Obviously those top 3 stay as is going in, and they will. I think that 4th spot personally goes to Vancouver. I think Vancouver will sneakily steal that. Don't you fucking look at me like that.
See that look
good
Ben?
right now.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt of that when Nick's right. I'm gonna make a T-shirt of that.
Yes, they're
if you see this, points, you're right.
They're 2 points out of a spot with 6 more games played. Like it's possible.
I get that.
It's possible, sure, but I don't know. I'm excited to see coming out of this like week-long break that the Habs have gotten, which was a blessing in disguise because their schedule had been jam-packed and it was going to continue to be jam-packed. So hey, even got this.
Okay, but here's the thing. Now it's even more jam-packed.
Now it's even worse.
There is that. It looked. I checked the scheduling. There's a good chunk of April. They're basically just playing a game every other day for like 2 or 3 weeks. So that's going to be interesting. But they basically get a fresh start with Eric Staal coming in, and then possibly Cole Caulfield coming in after that. And I think Bergevin is going to do one more thing. I think he's going to go for like a 4th to 6th defenseman, somewhere in there.
Interesting.
Because he can't really afford to just go all out, and I don't think this is the team to go all out for. But I do think he is going to get some kind of help there because the Habs need some help on the back end. That is where they're for once are okay with forwards. Like has not ever happened in recent memory with Habs, but like they're actually in a good spot forward wise. They just need to help their back end now. So hopefully they'll just get one more minor trade done and can take advantage of this gap of games that they got to make up on everybody else, because it could go a lot of different ways. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah,
and Nick,
I agree.
Your Senators.
I think they're Senators. I think the Senators are going to take that 4th spot.
It'd be nice to see it.
Sens Army.
Maybe.
Dude, I would.
Maybe. I have much more faith in them in the coming years now after watching them play this season.
After see this.
But like this year, I'm like, I don't know. I think that I sent you guys the video of Dorian after the game the other night.
Dude,
like,
that's rude.
Is there expectation that they're going to sneak in and win? Like what? I don't understand.
I don't think so. I think
off at a fucking, and I get what happened there. It was like 30 seconds left in overtime. It was going to shoot.
Close game, yeah.
So like
pass was
but like I understand the frustration, but I'm like that seemed like a little bit overkill if you ask me.
You throw a drink, and then now the cleaning people have to come in and clean up your mess that you made.
Dick.
Rude ass.
It did make for a funny gif, though.
He's not proving himself this season. This isn't the season for Dorian's not on the chopping block. Right?
I would say if he hasn't gotten fired yet, I don't think he's.
I think he's sneakily one of the smartest GMs in the league, but we don't know because dipshit runs the fucking team.
I was gonna say I have no faith in the fact that like Pierre Dorion actually makes all the choices there. No, he doesn't. Like,
absolutely not.
Yeah. Listen. If the Sens get to the playoffs, I'm buying a jersey, and they are my second team. Because they were such an underdog. If they somehow squeak into the playoffs, they're going to be my second team.
Now, imagine where they'd be at if they had just started using their other goalies earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Because Matt Murray might have lost a few games in the first stretch there.
Yeah, like if they had pulled up Joey Ekblad.
As soon as they started to get like a few saves, they started to get some wins. Like, I don't know. I'm I love Joey Ekblad's like Joey OK. He's forever going to be Joey OK to me, but
it's an awesome.
I like that hockey name.
Yeah.
Quick question. Other than whatever Ghost CC is talking to, Mike, what Sens jersey would you get?
Oh man, that's a tough. I mean, I can't go wrong. That's the thing. If I get a this year jersey, I can't go wrong. They're all beautiful.
True.
I want to get a Norris jersey.
I'd want to go. Oh, do you mean player or?
Oh no, like type of jersey.
Okay,
because
yeah.
The reverse retros.
The reverse retro.
If you want a lot of red.
The reverse retro is a beauty. I'm not a big red guy, so I think I'd go for a home. I think I'd go for the home black. It looks really good.
The black, yeah, that's fair.
And okay. I don't know if I'd get a
player.
I don't know if I'd get a player. I don't watch them enough. I'd have to watch. I'd have to watch a lot of their playoff games.
I feel like you're one. Oh well, you're gonna be watching for a while.
Yes, I will.
Shabbat would probably be like the one safe.
The safe one.
Kachuk. I don't want to say safe with the amount of guys they've just traded out of there for no good reason. But
I think the safe guy's Stutzla.
Yeah,
what about old Timmy?
Stutzla or Norris? But like
is a
rookies
beauty.
Can get traded. Like
that's true.
They might not be able to sign like these two guys for rookie stats right now. I believe they're 2 and 3 on points.
They're up there.
Or like up there. Like Stutzla's 1 point ahead of Norris.
They're up. They're up towards the top.
I've been on the Norris bandwagon all season long. That kid's fucking good. But
yeah, I think
the question will be: will they pay them in 3 years when their rookie deals are up?
Well, here's the thing: is they're restricted. Now I don't know exactly how that works, but I know it's pretty tough to lose a restricted free agent.
The simple version is to sign a guy away from like another team if they're still a restricted free agent. You have to give them an offer sheet, and then the other team that owns the rights has a chance to match it. And even if they don't match it, you then have to surrender draft picks to the team that's losing the player. And the draft pick amount depends on the value of the contract. And
Jesus Christ, business
the
things.
very extra simplified version of offer sheets.
Frickin' A. Yeah, regardless, I don't see them losing either of those two guys. They'll get offer sheeted, but
I think out of anybody of the four, like those four guys, right?
It's
Shabbat,
also
Kachuk and those two. I think Kachuk might be the one out of those four that might not stick around. But who knows?
It's also up to the player. Like the player can get offer sheeted, and then if the team matches it, they just take it.
Yeah.
They can just take it. And I don't see any of those guys leaving. I really think Ottawa, if they can get some D, I really think they're set up to be very, very solid in a couple years. And they might want to get another goalie.
Shabbat's playing north of 20 minutes a night right now.
That's pretty normal for a 1D.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
It's not a 1D on a team.
I keep hearing every single game. I keep hearing something like they're overplaying him. He's playing way too many minutes. And
how old is he?
I'm hearing like 25 minutes a night. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you don't want to make a habit of 25 minutes a night. I mean, he's young, but you also don't want to burn out your like number 1D on a team that's already like they're relying pretty heavily on their defensemen because they're not that great going the other way. It's like, but I wouldn't be too worried about that.
He's young.
I want to see.
He's younger than us. He can recover.
Because if I'm not mistaken, let me find things. Of course, you're not going to tell me. If I'm not mistaken, the D on, and I know it's a different situation, but the D on the Lightning, let us see. Dude, you're seriously not going to tell me? All right, never mind.
While you're looking at that, so I can tell you right now. They're not going to tell
me. It's little bastards.
The way that the Senators are set up is like they needed like a 1B. I think like Zaitsev's playing good, and Zaitsev was playing really good at the beginning of the season. So like he's doing his thing. I think it's pretty known what he can provide to that team. And then you got Shabbat, and then you got like we've already talked about this. Gabranson sucks. And then they also have like Brandstrom, I believe his name is, but he's also a rookie, and they don't have a lot of faith in him right now because he's like making rookie mistakes. I'm like, you should expect a rookie to make mistakes. He's not going to.
This is the year
you don't let him play AHL hockey.
So what I was trying to look up was the time on ice for Hedman and Sergachev, which are the two top defensemen from the Lightning. Hedman's at 25-31 this season.
Oh wow.
So he's up there, and then Sergachev's at 22 minutes even this season. So they ride their people as well. They ride their defensemen as well, and they have a lot more to play with. So
yeah,
they got a lot more talent on their D. They got McDude on their
McDude. McDude. You know who else has come in and really just improved from last year, which he was still pretty good, was Chernak. Chernak's still doing killer.
Yep.
What a guy. And he's got no teeth.
And his name's Eric.
It is, yeah.
You know who I realized didn't have any teeth the other night? Wayne Simmons.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he get him knocked out in a fight earlier?
He was chirping at a ref, and I was like, yeah, he doesn't have any fucking teeth in the front of his mouth.
Wow, I thought he had teeth too, to be honest. Maybe he's got fake ones that he shoves in there.
Probably. Most of them do.
Like dentures. All right, let's see. What did we do? We did the Central. We did the North. Let's go, Eric. Let's hear it.
To the East.
Let's hear it about your East.
The East has not really moved around that much again. Your 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the Caps, the Isles, the Penguins, and the Bruins. So, again, I think the weird outliers, or at least from the past games, I don't really have much to say about my Isles. They got beat up by Pittsburgh last night, which was probably good for your fantasy team, Mike, because Russ got a hat trick. I don't know if you took advantage of. Oh boy, I shouldn't have brought. Oh no.
But have him in.
Eric, we'll talk about this later.
So anyway, though, the Flyers just cannot beat the Rangers, which they beat them 2-1, but they got 8-3 and 9-2. Yeesh. They were getting their booties. So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, the East is just like Buffalo is just so far. Buffalo is 16 points.
How
they're not even in the.
They're so bad.
I don't even want to talk about Buffalo right now.
Their goalies are so freaking bad.
The whole team. You can't blame a goalie. I mean,
so I turned a Buffalo game on the other day, and I'm like watching them play, and I'm like,
it's just
how the
good.
Freaking Christ, are you this bad?
They look so bad, dude. It's just. Let's just blur Buffalo out. They never played this season.
Exactly.
They never played this season.
So this is 3 divisions now. So you said the bottom team. We're not going to count Buffalo right now. But the bottom team for each division was 9 points, right? That was the gap. 9 points.
It's 9 points. It's the gap between a playoff spot.
Yeah, a playoff spot in the north.
9 points.
Central.
9 points in the north. 9 points in the central.
Okay.
9 points in the central. And,
so the East is the same thing. If the Devils are above Buffalo, but the Devils are 9 points out.
Yeah, look at that.
So the Bruins, even though they were in first place, they had a hot streak at the beginning of the season. Philly is only 3 points behind them, and the Rangers are only 5 points behind them. So both the Rangers and the Flyers, if they
still very much in the picture,
dude.
So take a playoff spot.
I got a couple comments about those teams.
Okay. Yeah.
Specifically, so for the Flyers first, Carter Hart. Ooh, he has not been playing good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Carter.
Not good. But
they're emulating his hero, the Price.
Adam Fox and Ryan Strome? I think his name is.
Yep.
Oh my God, these guys are playing so freaking good right now. It's unreal.
Yeah.
They're scoring a shitload of goals. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So is Mika.
Fox had 5 goals last week, and he's a defenseman.
Wow.
I think he had
I'm
like 90% sure he had 5 goals because I have him on the team.
I had him at one point in time. Why didn't
no, Benny.
Oh no.
So I picked up a Strome. I'll tell you their stats right now. So last week,
you have
Strome had last week. Strome had 1 goal and 7 assists. 7 assists in a week is pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because there's usually only like 4 games max. So
yeah.
And Adam Fox last week. Oh Jesus, I was wrong. Not 5 goals. He had 1 goal and 10 assists.
Oh my God.
That's nuts.
10 assists. Oh, but you got to think.
Assists.
That's a lot, obviously, and those 2 blowouts of Philly probably helped.
Also true.
Oh, that's true.
No,
but
you're
still,
right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The Rangers have been playing decent hockey. They lost a heartbreaker against the Caps. I was watching where they were winning the 1-0, and they lost. Ovechkin just scored 2 goals with less than 4 minutes left. But
Ovechkin,
the Rangers are starting to piece it together. So they got a little bit of time. They got to do something soon, but they do have a little bit of time to work with. And not that far out.
You think with them I think because they have, I think there's no denying that the Rangers have the deepest pockets in the league. They can go fucking buy anybody they want. You think they'll make a move at the deadline and try and bring somebody in to say, okay, here, spark this team so we can get us into the
problem I see with that is that I don't know if they have the cap room to do that.
Yeah, I haven't looked at their cap.
I think they'd have to move some cap out. Who do you think they move in?
Jack Eichel? I don't know.
Jack Eichel? I've heard Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel's got a conversation. I know we talked about this a while ago. I said Jack Eichel's going to get traded. So
I hope he does.
I think it was on SDP. They were talking about Eichel, and they were talking to somebody, and they're like, Eichel's not getting dealt this year. If Eichel gets dealt, it'll be next year. I don't think even as shitty as Buffalo's playing, I don't think they can lose Eichel yet. Like, they won't give him up.
Yeah,
I don't think they win a Jack Eichel trade.
You don't think so?
No, because not now. If they trade him right now, he's injured after not doing anything the time he was in this year. Like, this is the lowest his value could possibly be. And then also,
true.
What the people know Buffalo's just trying to change shit. Like, no GM's going to be looking to help them.
Oh, yeah.
And also, like, you're probably not, like, that's just how trades with these kind of players usually work. Usually you trade one player for a bulk deal. The people who can get the bulk deal don't generally win. Sometimes they do, but oh Jesus,
you spilling stuff over there, bud?
I just think the Rangers will probably do something to Who knows what they'll do? I think they might if they have the space. But also, like, I think the consensus around the league is, and I believe we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. GMs are like, your team is your team, or owners and GMs are like, your team is your team. We have no money.
This is what you have. Yeah. Get used to it. Make it work.
But I think your Islanders will be getting somebody, Eric, because they can't lose Lee and not fill that spot.
I do as well. We'll definitely talk more about this as I know the trade deadline is April 12th, like you said, Ben. But as it gets even closer and closer, that'll be something for me to talk about more.
How many more episodes would Willie have before?
I think two. I believe 2.
Oh yeah, we will have. Yeah.
So we'll have next week's.
We'll have one on the eve.
Yeah. So we'll really be able to talk. We'll probably see some stuff before then.
Yeah. I don't think you're gonna see like shit going like on the 12th. I think they'll probably make moves before. I don't think it's gonna be like a standard year where they're gonna be like hot and heavy right at the. What was that?
So I think teams will try to. I think we'll still get. I'm gonna say we're gonna get like 1 or 2 really weird ones on the day of, like an hour before it's done.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Toronto do something crazy too.
What can they do though? I think they've just got what they've got. I think if they keep what they've got, I think they're in good shape. Oh,
I think they get a goalie, and if they get a goalie, I think they get like Darcy Kemper.
That is one of the ones that they're focusing on, I think.
But he's been hurt, so that's the thing. Like, I think basically the 2 that they've been talking about for Toronto is Jonathan Bernier, who's hurt, and Darcy Kemper, who's hurt.
That's. I mean, that. Going back to the East real quick. That pretty much sums it up. I mean, I have nothing else to say about.
Who do you think? Who would you want the Isles to go out and get?
Who would I?
Because you got Anders Lee. You're looking for an Anders Lee replacement on the ice. Is he a center?
Yeah, I believe so. I probably should know
that. I'm not an Islanders fan, obviously. If I was an Islanders fan, I would want somebody like
Taylor
Forsberg or Palmieri.
Palmieri's my guy. Like, Palmieri's my guy.
If you want like skill, maybe Hall. Maybe. Could he do better? I have to think the guy is better than 2 goals, so maybe. But like, I would think out of anybody, probably Palmieri. But he's also not the caliber of Anders Lee anymore. He was 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if replacing, like, you're never gonna tick all the boxes.
Yeah, it's not. It's just the closest thing. You need the closest thing.
Yeah.
Closest with the way you play.
So Mike, Lee is a left wing. He's not a center.
Okay.
And so part of me, there's no logic to this, but something I just chuckle about how Andy Green, when the Islanders picked him up before the playoffs last year, was like, oh, ex-Devil Andy Green, and then he actually proved to be a pretty good depth piece, and he's having a decent year again.
Nice. So
I'm just thinking like Kyle Palmieri, like, oh, just get another guy from the Devils, and he'll probably
seems to work out.
Well. Yeah, it seems to work out.
He's a right wing though.
You could force him into that left side.
Dang it.
Forsberg's
one letter away.
Force him into that left side.
Yeah. Okay. So Palmieri is my realistic option. Forsberg would just be he's probably my favorite player on Nashville, and if I got a Predators jersey, it'd be a Forsberg jersey. So if he came to the Isles, I'd pull the trigger on a Forsberg Isles jersey so quick. But also, obviously, he'd be great for the Isles. He's a big, strong, kind of power forward guy, kind of like Lee. He probably has a bit more finesse than Lee does, but I mean, it's Philip Forsberg. I think anybody.
Forsberg wouldn't be a rental either.
He scores.
No. Yeah.
Like,
but I think there's only one more year on that deal, right?
He's got at least 1 or 2. So he's not like a rental just for this year, and you're going to lose him.
He's a rental, and then a piece to sell. That's what he is.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they're not human beings; they're pieces of meat skating around on the ice.
This took a turn.
So,
great.
On the West.
Great.
On to the West, everyone. The West.
My goodness.
The West is we still have one more division. This one's quick though. We don't have any teams here, so we don't usually spend a lot of time. Vegas is up top with 46 points. Colorado right behind him at 46, and Minnesota at 43. And then 6 points later is
my favorite story of this year.
Is that going to be your other than Canadians team?
I think so. I think I've landed on Minnesota. They've been fun, and I just really like Kirill Kaprizov.
He's
Like,
been very
really
fun to watch. That's a good freaking player. My question to you, Ben, is did you get your tax return yet? And 2, have you bought that jersey yet?
I did get my tax return. I have not bought it yet, but I do think it is gonna.
That's one you're gonna do.
Anyone
That's
because
one you're gonna pull the trigger on.
Habs have not done anything in their blue jersey except a shootout win, and they got that shootout win and then proceeded to get 2 COVID cases. Or 1 COVID and then 1 on the list. But
well,
yeah, no, I think I am gonna get a mini one, and if
right.
anything, I'll probably get Kaprizov on it.
I mean, you gotta.
I think so.
That's your new favorite player right there.
Yo, their goalie's good too.
I don't even know his name. I
because
I know it's a no name. It's like a guy who just came.
There's been a lot of no-name goalies doing well this year.
Yeah, there's a lot that just have come out of the woodworks just from necessity.
Oh, well, actually, here's something I had in the outline before and totally forgot and skipped over that we can just talk about now. Real quick, though, because we are getting on there. The Binnington thing. Binnington seems to be having some issues and should probably get those figured out because
What's going on with that guy, eh?
He's having violent streaks on the ice where he just
He's
attacks
got some freaking
players.
rage built up.
So yeah, like I think
he needs to rub one out or something. Jesus.
Just trying to be like intimidating or something. I don't know. Like what he's trying to do half the time. Would that like not like the charge, like the swing back, and then
what's
he gonna do? He's not gonna freaking slash a guy. He's gonna get arrested if he
like you're obviously not gonna do that. So like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
just stop. Know. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I also don't know.
And he also, I think, has not been doing very well this year.
No,
he just signed a friggin' monster extension, didn't he?
6 months.
Well, this is what we talked about before. Is he had a insane half season, did a little bit worse in the next season, and is doing even worse now, and signs a monster deal after just going downhill from where he started. I don't know what the Blues are doing.
Guess what his save percentage is this year?
.894.
Okay, it's not that bad.
906.
Okay.
.899.
Mike, you are the winner. It was a 904.
Oh yeah.
Actually, by Price is Right rules, I win, fucker.
Well, guess what, Nick? Do you hear theme music and people saying "Come on down"? No.
Mike was closer, so I'm gonna say that wins.
This ain't the Price is Right, bud.
But I don't get it. How did he get that contract? How did he get that contract?
Because whoever's running the show over there had a new move.
But yeah,
that's all I gotta say.
Jordan Binnington needs to chill.
He does. All right, gentlemen. We're gonna cruise through. Here. We can't hear that.
It keeps cutting in and out. What was that?
Now you can.
No, it keeps cutting out. It's the Price is Right theme, everybody. It's Price is Right theme. He's Nick's trying to win that guessing game.
And there, we just got demonetized on this video.
You couldn't even hear it.
We could tell what that was.
You couldn't hear it. Also, we can't monetize these. But yeah, so we're moving on here, gentlemen. Let's real quick talk about fantasy. All the standings are in the same place, and I missed out on 48 points last night because I put the wrong people in. Took Brian Rust out because he was playing the Isles, figured that he would not get a lot of goals, got a hat trick. Accidentally didn't have Austin Matthews in. I would have, but I didn't check it until it was too late, and 2 of the games had started already. And he got a goal. So, missed out on some points.
Good on you on your choosing there, because that made it
Missed
not
out
as
on
bad
some
a night as
points.
it could have been for me.
Son of a... I had
I'm gonna make
62
some
points
significant
still as
shuffles
well.
on my team. I have like 3. So, speaking of fantasy, I tried to make a deal with Danielle the other day.
Oh my!
Yeah, I heard.
I don't remember who I tried to send her. I tried to send her Forsberg and I believe a defenseman because
goalie.
I wanted.
I think it was some goalie.
Yeah, I didn't trade her a goalie, but she rejects my trade, counters me with the 2 people I wanted from her team, but wants Draisaitl and the goalie for Boston. And I'm like, what do you fucking think? I'm gonna give up Draisaitl? Are you nuts?
All right, so she I was with her when this whole trade thing was happening, and she's like, "Look what Nick's asking for," and I was like, "Yeah, he's just trying to get your best players so he can do better." She was like, "Yeah, I know." I'm gonna offer a trade back, and she knew 100% that you weren't gonna take it. But she's not gonna give you her best players just because she's in the basement. She's not doing that.
Ben did.
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't. He's making a
Mike.
push. That wasn't him doing that on purpose. That was him being a noob.
That was really dumb. Yeah, no, that was
That wasn't him
bad.
trying to make
Ben,
me
if you
better.
wouldn't have done that, you would have probably
He
been
did.
in like second.
You would be a
Yeah.
lot higher up. You'd probably be
I would
past
be.
me. You'd definitely be past me.
Oh yeah. I'm
But you're
aware
not,
it wasn't a good
Mika.
choice, Nicholas.
You're not.
I know this.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Fifth Line Podcast's newest segment,
I need
Snack
to get some
Time.
water. I'll be right back.
Snack time with the boys. Nick, what do you have to snack on tonight? You have nothing, right?
So I do not have anything. If you guys can't tell, I've got a
moved.
new surrounding behind me. I moved this weekend. So I've been a little preoccupied, and honestly, I completely forgot until Eric texted us and said, "Yeah, I got snowballs instead." I'm like, "God damn it, I forgot!" And it was like, you sent that at like what 6 o'clock. So I was like, I don't have enough time to
Yeah,
go.
it was
anyway.
kind
So I
of
was like,
yeah.
fuck it. I guess
Yeah.
I'm not going. So I have nothing, and this
That's
was my
fine.
idea. So I feel really bad.
No, it's fine, but it's fine. Next week, we'll all watch you eat Swiss rolls next week.
We're not gonna say anything. We're just gonna sit here. Just
We're gonna watch. You're gonna have to get
Watch
real
it.
close to the mic so we can hear it, though.
yeah, we'll do that.
But yeah, so to this week we're doing Hostess / Little Debbie snacks. So Eric, what did you bring? What did you bring for us today?
I got some snowballs.
The
As you
snowballs.
can see, they're coated with shaved coconut. It's
Shaved
dyed
coconut.
purple. I don't know how they do that.
What's on the
If you've
inside
ever
of those?
if you've ever seen the movie Zombieland, you know that Tallahassee does not like snowballs.
Isn't like snowballs. So Woody Harrelson, if you're watching the Fifth Line podcast, please don't kick my ass.
Try some snowballs.
Or do, because that'd be kind of awesome. Woody Harrelson?
Also
Yeah,
would be
that
kind of
would
cool.
be cool.
You're-
Yeah,
you're
Woody
right,
Harrelson.
you're
If
right.
you want to come join the podcast, by all means, shoot us a DM.
Would I
Shoot
sacrifice
us a
my
dumb-
physical well-being for views on this show? I would. So
What do you mean?
anyway,
That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. So a snowball is it's basically like marshmallow on the outside with coconut, and then it has chocolate cake and then like cream filling. basically.
Wow.
So
Okay.
a lot of layers. Yeah. If you
Wow.
don't like coconut, you shouldn't even bother with
Yes.
these.
Yes.
Aren't they pink? Are they still pink or are they
So
not?
they come in different colors, like blue, orange, pink, purple. It depends on the season, maybe. I don't know. I see them in a
Interesting.
variety of colors.
Benny, what do you have for us? One of your favorites, something you
I've
buy anyway.
already unwrapped it and got it out. It's a big ass cosmic brownie.
That's a giant
And-
cosmic brownie.
I have the big ass one because I actually did go grocery shopping today, and I meant to get a box of all of them, but I forgot to, and I stopped at a Stewart's on the way back and got it. And I got this with it too because I felt silly walking in to just get a cosmic brownie.
That's also
Hashtag
something.
Saratoga water. Hashtag Saratoga water.
Okay, that's also that's also something you'll need with a cosmic brownie because my days do those things clog up your mouth. They make your spit so thick, it's insane.
Ben's already got a thick spit to start with, so
Yeah, Ben's yeah. So anyway, I picked zebra cakes because these were always my favorite to eat, and that was it. And so yeah, so everybody, let's take a bite.
Oh dang it! I gotta open
Yeah.
mine first. I'm
Got the texture of like no brownie that I've ever eaten in my life. Cosmic brownies do. They taste nothing like normal brownies, but I love them.
There's sugar.
they straight up taste artificial.
They are.
100%.
I want to see the factory machine that turns those little turds out.
Oh wait, so everyone can see this. So that's what a snowball is. See the marshmallow,
Oh, there you
the
go.
chocolate cake, and then the cream filling.
Dang, what's the cream?
Yeah, this is pretty good, honestly.
The biggest thing about snowballs is the coconut. If you don't like coconut, don't
Yeah.
fuck with them.
If I was
Exactly.
a coconut guy, I might, but I am really not a coconut guy. So
Yeah.
So I am not.
You want to
Yeah.
know what else is good? Isn't one like a strawberry, like zebra cakes? Isn't there like a strawberry one?
Yeah, there's like a strawberry Swiss roll kind of deal.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's a Swiss roll.
Those are good.
Yeah, I'm again not a sweet guy. I'm just waiting for the day that we do something like meat sticks. What's your favorite meat stick, boys?
You're talking to the residential, probably the worst snack eater.
You are a notorious snacker. I will say.
Not quite as bad anymore, but ooh, my days I was bad in college.
Yeah, I do remember you walking out. You'd like, dude. I have a couple vlogs where. Do you remember the friggin' last couple days of the one semester? We walked to the Dollar Tree to get Ben some paper towels. We just walked down the road. We get back, and the next clip after we get back is you standing at the counter just eating chips.
Dude, I ate so much chips in college. No wonder I gained weight. I ate chips all the time.
You were always snacking on chips, bud.
I'd just be playing video games. You'd walk in, lay down on my bed, snacking on some chips.
Yep. Yeah, those are the days, man. Those are the days. What time we got here?
Our listeners, I got a question for you. What do you want to see on Snack Time with the Boys?
Yeah, I actually do. I would like to take some subscriber.
We know you're out there. We can see you're watching these videos. So if you get to this point in the video and you're still with us, thank you. But let us know. What do you want to see in Snack Time?
What
Probably
should we be
why are these
snacking
dumbasses
on?
eating Little Debbie's in front of us?
Because listen, we are human beings and we eat Little Debbie. Shit! I just made a mess.
Yep.
These frickin' things, why do they crumble so much? But anyway, I think that's gonna do it.
Oh, no.
How about you finish that before you start talking again? Oh, Ben shut his mic off.
Ben's muted. I think he started to die.
Oh,
he's
no,
joking.
Benny.
Get it up, bud. Get it up.
Put your hands up.
I breathed some water.
No.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, you ain't a fish, bud. So anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode, unless any of you has anything else you'd like to talk about.
I don't think so.
No?
Sweet. All right, well, thank you all for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one. Peace.